Alright everyone, and welcome to Spookies Hunting for History. I am Stephen.
And I'm Becky. And today in this video we'll be going to Roslin Glen. So according to Wikipedia, Roslin Glen Country Park is a wooded glen in the North Esk Valley near the village of Roslin in Scotland. It contains walks with several places of interest along the way, including Rosslyn Chapel, Roslin Castle, and Wallace's Cave, which we will look at a wee bit later on in this video.
So here we are in the Glen. So this is one of the first places you actually get to after you park in the car park. You get to this bridge and you cross, and there's this amazing ruin on the other side. Now, from looking around, I believe this is meant to be, or is thought to be, part of the castle, which is above it. You can see the castle, you can just make out there through the trees. But that's Roslin Castle, which is now a ruined castle. It's still got a lot of intact parts, don't get me wrong. But this was meant to be part of the ruins, I believe, but I don't know, and I'll get into why later. Again, it's just going from our opinion, our point of view from looking at this stuff. But look at this amazing large blocks that you've got here. You can see the red coming through from underneath. And it's really far down from where the castle is as well. And it just makes you wonder, what else is under the sort of hill here? What's under all this mud? Does the wall go on much further, for example? Anyway, looking at the wall a little bit closer, as we will be, I think it's really intriguing. Obviously you've got these big massive blocks, which they're saying is this castle's built on a natural stone. But then look at this, like, again, that sort of look, is that something poured over the top of it? Have they joined together in some way? Is it something like that? I'm unsure. And then of course you see this red coming through. Look at that amazingly angled stone, which the smaller stones are built into. It's just amazing. And you'll see a few of them joined together there as well.
Onions!
Becky. That was Becky with one of the plants that are grown everywhere. They're actually not onions. Actually, we're not sure what they are. Becky thinks there's some sort of garlic, but anyway, yeah, look at that amazing stone up there, the sort of right angled one that's got, it's just amazing, eh? But yeah, I thought this wall was really impressive. You could see how old it is with these plants and roots all growing through it. Just looks amazing, and yeah, just a cool wee mark with notes there. But a very intriguing area. And here's one of those holes that you get all around. Obviously there's one at Innerwick as well in the stone there. Very strange. It really just comes across as an area with multiple different time periods going on, if you know what I mean. The wee sort of doorway that you saw there doesn't actually go anywhere. It's completely filled in case you were wondering. But that is the castle on top. So that's Roslin Castle. And here is another, this is round the corner from where we were. More of the wall coming through. Again.
Lovely.
You can see the different style of blocks. So it is a little bit more similar to those of the castle. I will give it that. But to me they look bigger. And there's a size comparison with Becky there. Again, just showing you how old it is with these roots right in there. The blocks are really impressive. Like, look at them. But there's a change you can see where they just sort of change, and you can see there's been a lot of sort of repair work done here. It doesn't look in the same sort of state, if you know what I mean. It looks different. So he was inside that chimney-like thing. I'm not sure what this was. And this thing doesn't even show up on some of the illustrations that we will show in a moment. So I don't really know what's going on. Maybe someone knows what it is. and could let us know in the comments. But yeah, speaking of those old images, let's just have a look at some of them just now. So yeah, here's the first one, and you can see that the wall is rounded here, so it doesn't look like what we're actually seeing, at least not to me. And then this one, if you can see, it looks like the artist has actually depicted it under the grass. You can sort of see that rubble effect, and that wall seems behind it. And you can even see about that chimney looking thing there. And finally, this one, very similar, again, just showing a sort of ruin of a wall. Basically what I'm saying is, I'm not sure they agree on what the walls look like around the castle. Really unsure on that, because I've seen so many different images. And that wall is old. But yeah, look at this little recess in the stone. This is the stone below the castle. Reminded me of some of the things Paul Cook was talking about in one of his most recent lives, referring to like chase marks in the stone and things like that for possible wires. I mean, could that have been a light, or was it just something else? Wee bit wildlife there, because it wouldn't be a spookies video without a wee bit wildlife. Slug counts. So here we are looking at the stone that the castle's actually built on beneath it. I'm fairly certain this is the stone, even though it appears like it might be render or something. Those bricks are actually plugging up a hole, it would appear, and this is actual the stone. This is just plugging up a hole in the stone, these bricks and stuff. It's just someone's mashed that in there. It's plugging up a hole, but I mean, this is stone, and look how flat it is. I mean, we'll get an amazing actually close-up of it in just a second, but it's mind-blowing how flat and really smooth it is, considering how they managed to get it like this if it's completely natural. It's just mind-boggling. Look at that. Very impressive. But yeah, that's what the castle is built on top of, and it reminded us of, Innerwick Castle. In our first Hunting for Histories video, we visited Innerwick Castle, and that's a castle built on top of a strange sandstone, formation. And I know it's a similar story throughout a lot of the country, and this is just another example, I think, of a castle built on top of a strange stone formation. I mean, look at this. These holes and that, it's probably just for a gate or something. It could be something more modern, I don't know, but we thought we would grab this because it is very intriguing. And this appeared to be, although covered in moss, more of that stone that's below the building. I mean, it's pretty awesome. Weird rocks and stuff at the wall. So this is the river that flows right around the castle, and yeah, I was actually reading an interesting article talking about sort of natural energy coming from the ground and the rivers and stuff, so something to consider. I thought that was really interesting. The link will be in the description for that one if you're interested. Back to our exploration, and this is us on our way. We were trying to find Wallace's cave, so we walked through the glen. We do find a few more things on the way, so keep watching, some cool wee things. But first, as always, a wee bit more natural wildlife. Check it out. Yes, we've got a bit of nature for the video. There's always nature.
We need to capture some more, really. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's so cute.
Damn, I missed him. Okay. I just wanted to get that tree. Look how tall it is.
Mad.
Look how tall that tree is. So you can't really see it, but so that through the trees. Rosslyn Chapel. Okay, just some butterflies, but it's still nature. It's no sea otters this time, but it's still nature. Just checking out that bit wall that we've seen on the way, and this is an interesting wee spot. A lot of wee things going on here. It'd be good to have a proper exploration of this bit. But yeah, cool. Some old wee steps there. Some interesting carvings going around, most of them modern, but you can see under all these trees and stuff, there's blocks, there's rocks, there's all sorts of stuff going on around the area. It was such a gorgeous bit though. But yeah, if you just peek over here, we see this nice piece of modern art staring right back at us. But yeah, round here we did actually find something interesting. But first, check out some of the beauty of this site. It's just amazing. It's such a lucky day with the weather. But yeah, this sort of stuff's underneath a lot of the trees and that. But we found this interesting wee guy, and it turns out he's quite well known. It seems to be all over the internet. But it did lead me to an interesting article here where they were questioning whether or not the Roslin Chapel and Roslin Glen associated with it was perhaps older than what's recognised in the mainstream, and that could perhaps go back thousands of years. And you know what? With a place like that as mysterious, with so much going on, it just has to go back thousands of years. I don't see how it can't. Anyway, back to it, and yeah, please enjoy some more of these scenes as we make our way towards the area where Wallace's cave is, and we continue through the glen. But yeah, you can see, like, when you walk around there, there's bits like this all over it where you find blocks and, you know, stone and things like that under trees. But then the area is also very, very rugged, so I guess you would expect that sort of thing. Just having a look over here shows you just how rugged the area actually is, and this water, this river that runs right around the area is very interesting. You can actually see through the water. It's very clear. You can see through it to all the rock shapes and strange formations going on underneath the water. It's very, very interesting actually. It's a great wee spot. Over here, you'll see us coming up, but there was like a sort of a cave, but it was also a waterfall. It wasn't that big a waterfall when we were there. I don't know if it gets more powerful. It was really just piddling water down it, kind of like back at Bilsdean in our last video, but interesting nonetheless. And if you look on the top left, you see that white rounded sort of block sticking out the rocks and the rock face there. Again, yeah, just a very cool area. And hey, if you want to skip forward to the cooler stuff, feel free. We like to give a sort of idea of the land. I mean, like, look at this sort of stuff, for example. It's a lot of wee things like that we notice when we're out about, and just feel I need to show it because it gives a sort of fuller picture, I think, of the area. Which might that just looks like a rock otherwise, but then you see things like that. So yeah, just interesting little anomalies. But yeah, moving on to some pretty cool stuff now. So starting off with this wall at the side. I mean, this was that rock again, just completely overgrown with moss. Just look at it. It's just so interesting, and it looks so mysterious with the moss. Actually, it makes it look pretty cool. But yes, this ran right along this bit, and again there was all the sort of usual things like the holes going into it and that stuff. Very intriguing. And this ran along the river for just a short bit here, completely covered in foliage. Trees busting out. There's one of those holes, like I said, which is very suspect in my opinion. And here's a better look. This is a little bit further along, and this is where it became really interesting. As you can see, a sort of cave thing down there. But that looked like some blocks to us. I don't know if you can see in the video, but there was clearly some blocks left on top. Smaller blocks, and this area was so cool. So It looked like a cave, but it doesn't really go in far at all. It's quite, it doesn't go in far, so you know, you'll see it there as far as it really goes, to the eye anyway. And speaking of eyes, that's why we loved it so much. This, to us, looked like a massive eye. You'll see what I mean here, hopefully. Yeah, I mean, that just looks like an eyeball to us, like an eye. An eyelid, and the nose would be to the right, but it just looks so cool. I'm not saying that's what it is, by the way. I'm just saying that's why we thought it was so cool looking. And I do get a little look inside here. So please do let us know what you think in the comments, because, you know, I have no idea. You know, it's said to be natural, it's said to be natural. I just think it looks really cool and interesting. There's a wee bird's nest, a bit more nature for you. It seemed to be empty and old, but who knows. I didn't disturb it, don't worry. But we did get a wee look up here. I tried to get a look. You can see what appears to be just blocks. Yeah, just bits of rock shoved in there. Don't really know what's going on. That could have been a block there with its nice right angle, but I mean, I don't really know what's going on here. It was just very strange. You could see the red under this coming through. Disturbed the wee guys, put them back to bed. But there, some holes kicking about. These were right across from each other. What could have joined them, connect them? They seemed level. Who knows? And more blocks down by the river. This was just down from that, so it's like right in front of it. Very interesting. Very cool. Beautiful. Just another look around this lovely area. But these are the rocks that this is sort of area across from Wallace's cave. So Wallace's cave is across there somewhere. I thought it was a great wee area. I mean, look at these steps in the rock. I mean, I don't know how old they are, but they're lovely, and we thought we should point them out. But the layout of the land here is just incredible. I mean, look at it. It's just all sorts of stuff. But it's cool. It's a great wee spot. I say cool too much in this video. I'll need to look at the thesaurus. Anyway, this is the wee walk along, and we are, as I said, across from where Wallace's cave and things like that is. So we're at a good wee spot, an interesting spot. And look at that, like line across the bottom of that stone, and again, you know, just some interesting bits. Now that's looking across now to the side where, you know, Wallace's cave is. It's more to the right over there is where Wallace's cave is, somewhere up there. And yeah, just another look at all the sort of stone and what's going on in the area. It's very intriguing. Very cool tree that we found. Grown completely upside down, dead now obviously. But yeah, just another interesting feature. Now this is a wee bit further up. I wasn't going to put this in the video, but I thought, you know what, I'm putting it in. This was a wee bit further along before we backtracked, but I wanted to show this because I thought it was another very interesting piece of geology. I mean, look, it's just so unique. It's like this square, you know, rectangular looking block. It's just poking out. It just looks really interesting, doesn't it? A good look at it. But yeah, I just thought we'd throw that in it. As I said, sort of gives another idea of what this whole land is like, because there's things like this all over the place at Roslin Glen. All over the place. It's really not bad. Hi! That was just some noisy Neds that made it there first. We may have had all the horses, but we were on the wrong side of the river. So we had to drive all the way around and get parked somewhere better and closer and make our way towards Wallace's cave.
So, according to Scotland Off the Beaten Track website, it says Wallace's Cave is a popular place in Scotland named after the famous Scottish knight William Wallace. It is worth mentioning that there are a few caves in Scotland with William Wallace's name, but this one is close to the site of the Battle of Roslin, which William Wallace fought in. It's found on the less visited south side of the gorge with a charming carved stone staircase used to reach the entrance.
Indeed, and you've just been seeing some of that carved staircase. I mean, and this was carved in it. I mean, I don't know if that's old, but it's cool to see. And this is the staircase going down. It is very steep. Well, you know, it can be quite steep if you're not got a head for heights. So just a warning there if you are planning on visiting this place. But yeah, it's a magical wee spot. Quite narrow going down at this point. It does get wider as you go back near the top. But there's a look at it. This is the rock that Wallace's cave is actually in. This is walking to the entrance. Here's this stone on the right. Look at that. There's a good look at it. I mean, it looks like just every sort of other sort of rocks in the area. I mean, they do all sort of have that look. Very rugged. And looking ahead, you can see those block-looking like things. But here's the entrance. Annoyed at myself, I didn't film the entrance properly. But here's the inside. I'll be back though. With my dad, we're going to go back and check out the other caves as well. But anyway, here's this cave. So just take it in. I mean, what jink's going on here? Is it just a natural cave? Or is there something else going on? Someone dug it out? What do you think? Just getting a real close look here. I thought lots of wee droplets of water. Just found it really interesting. Just fascinating, eh? Wee droplet of water just sitting there in a cave. I mean, just sitting there, eh? But look at this wall. I mean, it's... So my opinion is something's been done to it. Look at that. This is, to me, it looks like this big thick stuff has been smeared over the wall. You can see the separation when you look at parts of the ceiling. And I say that because, you know, there's some pictures that really show up. But we'll get to that in a wee second. I mean, look at the gaps there. It's like almost like two separate layers, and I don't really know what's going on. And you see that red coming through. Yeah, I mean, what do you think's going on here? Please put in the comments. But here we are. This reminds me of some of the things we see Paul Cook showing. I mean, you can see the sort of, if you look in the centre of the screen there, you can actually see the sort of chase marks that Paul talks about. And if you look at the ceiling, you can see the clear separation and what looks like a sort of render, something smeared onto that red sandstone. Here again, I mean, look at the difference in the ceiling and the walls. I don't know if that's natural or not. To me, it just doesn't look it. Looks like something's been going on there. Look at all the scratches and just everything. It just looks, yeah, it's just fascinating. But yeah, so to me, I think that the majority of the ceiling looks very different to the majority of the walls, which seems to be covered in this stuff. There's a wee bit on the ceiling there you can see, but most of it you can see it's missing from as well. And this is when I found out the cave is full of spiders, which, yeah, freaked me out a wee bit. Hi ho, more wildlife for the video. you look at the lines in that in the walls, almost like, you know, purpose placed layers. It's just really, that's just the way I'm seeing it now, but I don't actually know. It's just my opinion. But here we are, going back up the steps. It's a nice wee walk up, and look at them. Remember that article says it was carved out of the stone. These were, I mean, could be. It looks amazing, eh? Amazing piece of work. Think of how much work that would take. And we walk up Becky Ware sticks. We get a wee look at the spirals again. But there we go, that was Wallace's cave, and there are more caves further along, which we will go back and explore sometime. I'm already planning that, and I'll be revisiting this one, get some better footage of that entranceway, and yeah, take a closer look, maybe judging by some of the comments that we might get. But we hope you enjoyed just wee exploration. We do like to try and give more of a feel for the areas and show around a bit more, because we think that's important to the overall sort of picture. But yeah, and here's on top of the cave, and look at this, it's just amazing. I mean, it's like top of a castle or something. I mean, it's just incredible. The shapes, big block-like shapes, and you can see that there was some sort of fence or something here at one point. I don't know if that was modern or what, but there it is. So you can see that, and you can see the other ones in the wall, I think the side, with remains of metal in there too. Becky just pointing out some of those scratch marks, but there it is there. But yeah, that could just be sort of modern, just for health and safety, but it doesn't look like it worked too well. I don't know. And it is a massive drop. So that's that river we were at earlier on, was right down that drop, that cliff. So down there is the river and everything that we had earlier on in the video. Interesting, eh? We just made it to the other side. Great commitment.
Yeah, it's Bobby. It's even got hairs, look.
Look at that. Work of art on an old ancient historic site. William Wallace. Anyway, so this is where we usually share a wee sneak peek at our next video, but today we've got something a wee bit different because we've got a few wee videos on the go, so we're not sure what one's going to be next, so we're going to be doing a wee spooky street instead. And of course, we were at Roslin Glen, so we couldn't visit Roslin Glen without seeing the famous Rosslyn Chapel. You're not actually meant to film in here, we didn't know that. That you weren't meant to film in here, and it's just for people's inconvenience that it says on their website, because it's a small area. So as soon as we were asked to stop, we did stop respectfully, but you know, might as well share the footage that we got. So yeah, please enjoy. I'll stop yakking away and we'll jump back at the very end.
Geography
Oh,
lectures
we
in the
didn't know
chapel.
that. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for joining us. I've got a few cool wee things in the works, so please stick with us.
If you did like the video, maybe leave a wee like and maybe a wee comment.
Thanks again, and see you next time. Cheerio.